Here are the girls after their first night in. All very settled. We checked them last night and they were happy as Larry to be in. I think it was quite a miserable night, so if I was them, I'd definitely rather be inside. It's one of the Scotch half-breds just having a bit of a scratch. Good lass. And straight to the fodder beets. Thought that might happen. And off they go. There's one leading the way back to the field, and I thought I'd have to come and stand kind of over here and turn them in, but at the moment it looks like they're taking themselves there. They do have to go through a bit of a puddle there, which they don't really like, but it's going pretty well. Oh no, did I speak too soon? Just hopped through the wire just to go and turn these ones, but they're doing it themselves really. Good girls. Good girls. We don't want to rush them. Now they're coming in, that's a real sign that lambing is pretty close. So actually, if they just take their own time, that's absolutely fine. Now the field that they're in at the moment, they're probably thinking that's a nice fresh bite of grass, but we actually want to get them into the next field. So I'll pop round them. As you can see, there is the odd lame one. The wet conditions don't help at all. But at this stage of them being in lamb, we don't want to be tipping them up to do their feet. So if they're calm, we'll sometimes do their feet like a horse. Otherwise, if we think they look pretty close to lambing, we'll just wait for them to lamb and then be able to tip them up and sort their feet properly. But nobody's really bad. Nobody is kind of losing ground because of lameness, which is a good thing. This is an interesting sheep to look at here. Typical, she's just walking off. You can see her udder is a bit one-sided. Now that sheep is number 4, and we kept her after she had mastitis, which some farmers would say is quite soft, but she produced good lambs and is a good sheep for helping us bring the other ones in. Now, because of the mastitis, she has been left one-sided in her bag, which for some people would be obviously very, very difficult to manage, and she obviously wouldn't be at kind of full productive capacity. But for us, as I said, we have a bit of a soft spot for her, so she stayed. So you can see my mum just there is heading around these and directing them into this top corner there, and they'll head through into their field for the day. My job for the majority of this week won't be on the farm, it will be in the Airbnb. We've blocked out this week to, well, hopefully redecorate all the cottage, but if not as much as we can get done. We've got guests in on Saturday, so we do have a deadline. As you'll have seen from some of my other videos, we send most of our fodder beet with a local stock feed merchant, but here we are putting some through the cleaner loader ourselves for our ewes to lamb. That's just a handy little slot in the machine so that you can see how full the kind of hopper is. You then fill this up and it goes through the cleaning machine. So as I mentioned, the loader bucket scoops it from the heap and into the hopper. Now this video is taken in the cleaner loader, and you can see the fodder beet going over the riddle, and at that stage you can pick out any stones or bits if needed. Luckily there weren't many stones to pick out at all, and then the fodder beet goes up this elevator and loaded into the tractor and trailer ready for us to tip. Here is the heap of fodder beet that has been through the cleaner, which we will be using. Even though we didn't really pick anything off, it was just the stuff which fell through the bottom automatically, it's really quite a clean heap. And the other thing is, because we'll be picking basically individual fodder beets off, we won't be putting it through a chopper or anything like that. If there is the odd stone in there, we'll be able to pick it out without it obviously damaging a chopper or whatever other processing you might be doing to it. Want to know something really annoying? In my last video, I talked about the reason we couldn't use this shed as the lambing shed. If you watched, you know it was because it was full of peas. And guess what's happened? Nearly all the peas have now gone. Which is great and typical, just as we've got the ewes trained up and knowing what they're doing going into the fold yard. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. It's much easier to lamb in here just because of where the electric points are, for example. If we need a heat lamp, the lights in general, there's a special smaller little light, so it's a night light. It's got easy walls all the way around for doing the lambing pens, so I suspect we'll be on the move again. This is a video of the peas being loaded out of the shed. My dad is actually on the loader. As you can see, he goes in with the bucket. This is a big grain bucket. Goes in, scoops up. When you get close to the wall, you have to be careful, obviously, not to hit the wall or any of the other obstacles in the shed. Carefully reversing out and then getting ready to tip into the wagon, which is waiting there. I think this load was maybe about 6-ish in the morning, hence why it's dark and the lights are on the loader. And there he goes into the wagon. This bucket is, well, we've had it a little while now, but it makes a big difference in how quickly you can load a wagon. Unfortunately, we didn't get quite as much of the Airbnb decorated as we wanted to. It's not in bad condition by any stretch, however, we just wanted to freshen it up, but I mean, various things have gone wrong, things have cropped up on the farm, but we have redecorated this sitting room, so it looks really nice and fresh, and I'll show you around. I think the best thing about this room is the fire. We always leave it laid for the guests, just that if they're arriving late they can hop in and it's there and ready. We leave some logs as well, and I always say to guests, if you need more, just message me. We've got a slight green theme on the kind of accessories in here. Accessories? I don't know what the word is. It's these cheetah cushions, some throws as well. And I also, talking about little touches in my last video, things like these books, which I like. Try and put stripes in the mat. Look at that. Is that a bit wonky? You wouldn't do that if you had GPS, would you? But yeah, this is the sitting room. I have done tours of, well, I've shown the kitchen and one of the bedrooms in my previous video, so you can have a look at those if you're interested. I'm going to try splitting what I've been doing this week into 2 episodes. So this one, obviously, and then one out tomorrow at 10 AM. As always though, if you did enjoy this episode, if you could like and please subscribe, and I hope to catch you tomorrow for my next episode.